JantroDanob.
History. It showcases the past in cabinets of gold and silver, with a sign of warning that reads, "Caution, do not repeat." It advances the future and safeguards the past, all the while keeping an eye on the present. What if history never happened? What if history changed? Fräulein Maria Schmidt enters the dingy little cell on the 6th floor of the Habsburg women's prison, accompanied by one of the German brutes. The room is beyond small and smells vaguely of formaldehyde and despair.
Fitting,
Thinks Maria. The cell housed 1-2 beds the size of cardboards, a window with bars thicker than the walls, a jug of murky water that must have not been changed since the time of the last occupants, several wall murals of Herr Hitler, a candle, and illuminated by the light of the candle, her Zelda. She looked older than her years, much, much older. But then again, who would be looking their best all the while being imprisoned under the regime of the Third Reich?
Took you long enough?
Says Zelda.
it's not so easy bribing a prison guard to change cells, Zelda.
Come, sit.
Any news reached you about the rest of the resistance? I only know of Gustav, who managed to flee to Russia. But what of Wilhelm?
Last I heard from Myrtle, he left for Hungary. There's a wider circle of resistance members forming there. Chancellor Rosten would be attending a dinner at the capital with some dignitaries. There are plans of his assassination flying around. And regarding Gustav, yes, he has reached Moscow. But that is all I know.
Myrtle was a sympath. Working as a prison guard for over 12 years, he was different from the others. He would offer Zelda news of her resistance group as and when he got them. To each other, they were fast friends. To the world, they were prisoner and punisher.
And what of Angela and Marcus?
Fell into the hands of Mussolini's men. The tyrant ordered them to be shot on sight. They escaped for 8 straight days and finally got caught in Venice. And when they were caught, they were paraded around the local square as prisoners of war and finally shot in front of a cheering crowd. Animals.
Both sit in silence. There is so much left to be said between them, and so little time. Outside the dingy window, The winter chill breezes through the gaps. The streets are empty, save a few street dogs and Rickard, the old sweeper. It's moments like these when the world is quiet and time seems to stand still, when it becomes almost easy to imagine a different world. A world where they had won. A world where the Americans had reached Normandy in time. A world where the Blitzkrieg was destroyed. A safer world. A better world. Maria gets lost in her mind, something that happens so often now. If only Normandy was a success. If only they could reach Paris faster. Perhaps then Hitler wouldn't have been alive. Perhaps then the Third Reich would have been destroyed instead of taking over the whole of Europe for the next 15 years. The year was 1957, years after the win of the Axis powers, and the skies were still as gloomy as ever. What few Jews had survived till the war had been killed off immediately afterwards. The race was now knowingly extinct. America was busily divided amongst Italy and Japan as remunerations for their efforts, whereas the entire of Soviet Russia fell under the control of Germany. Together, Germany, Poland, Russia, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and Bulgaria and Budapest constituted the Nazi Empire. The world had changed. The map had changed. And the change maker was Herr Adolf Hitler. Zelda's voice brings Maria back to reality.
Maria, don't. I know what you're thinking. It's no use, my dear. It's no use.
I know. But there are days when I can't help it. There are days when my mind slips back into the summer mornings and the bicycle rides by the Volga and the shed strudels and the happiness before the resistance. I had a different life.
Maria and Zelda had met in the meetings of their resistance group, the Revolutionary Youth of Germany. The group consisted people in their 20s who were on the side of the Allied powers and condemned the Nazi regime. Maria had stumbled upon one of their meetings at the urge of a friend, and it was in that tiny room that she met her fellow protesters and one particular loudmouth, bossy, beautiful girl named Zelda. That was then. The girls had bonded over ammunition storages and assassination plans and their shared love for summer evenings, and had slowly fallen into a whirlpool of feelings that were forbidden in this world. Feelings that was sin to the eyes of others. Feelings that were as natural as the blooming of water lilies. It was there during breaks between meetings about war strategies and artillery stocks that they had created memories that had been their entire journey. And what a journey it was.
Do you regret it?
I don't regret you, if that's what you're asking.
The wind whistles between them and their silence. Come morning, everything will change.
Do you ever wonder what could have happened if things were different?
You mean if we had won?
I mean, if there was no need of a war to begin with.
I do. I really, really do. In my mind, there are fields of peonies and stream. Such a gentle stream, and so many trees. There's a small cottage, big enough for the two of us, and there's so much laughter. And above everything, there's love. So much love.
The world is cruel, my dear. Your dream is just that, a dream. It's so far away from reality that it is invisible. They will never accept us. To them, we are broken, bent, impure and vile, no better than the forlorn Jews. We'll always be criminals, traitors of the Aryan order. And why? Because our love isn't identical to theirs. Because who we love is different. No one sees that how we love is the same. There are days when I remember that night when Aspen sold us out to the dogs in exchange for Nazi mercy. Traitor! We lost John and Marcus and Layla and so many more. All shot in gunfire in front of my own eyes, Zelda. And I remember thinking, I wish we would have run away from the resistance. From the missions, from everything. At least then I wouldn't have had to see them tear down what we built so painstakingly. At least then I wouldn't have had to see the love of my life getting tortured. We are sinners in the book of history, Zelda. That's all we'll ever be.
They sit in silence. The dogs continue howling, without a care for the two women, flashing their freedom to those who would never be free.
You don't agree, do you?
No, I don't. I believe otherwise, Maria. I have to. I have to believe that our sacrifice isn't for naught. I have to believe that all this will mean something else. I have to believe that history is meant for something. I have to believe that our story means something. I have to believe the death of our friends meant something. A stepping stone for freedom. I have to believe that Wilhelm will succeed. I have to believe that there can ever be a world where Adolf Hitler doesn't reign. I have to believe that those up in heaven have a plan for us. I have to believe that people like us will one day find a world where they can love as they are, as they choose. I have to have faith, as no revolution has been easy. No revolution has been gentle. I have to have faith, Maria, for faith is all we have.
Maria takes Zelda's hand in hers. Her fingers slowly rub circles over her palm. It's soothing. It's familiar. It's home.
I pray to God that in our next lives we meet in such a world. I pray that we have our cottage and the fields and the trees and the laughter, because love has always been ours since the very beginning. I pray that I meet you again, Zelda, for our story is unfinished.
Silence passes between them as they sit still. It feels like an eternity has passed. Outside the window, the first rays of the sun shine. They sit hand in hand, and Maria hums a tune. It's almost as if this is the most normal thing in the world. It's almost as if what's about to happen won't. The silence gets disturbed by the metal cranking of the door. The guard enters the cell. Ladies, it's time. Quick, move it. Zelda and Maria smile at each other. Today, once they leave the cell, They know they won't come back.
In the rain and in shine,
Our love will be divine.
in the waters, O love of mine,
Ever ours, ever thine.
for the revolution.
For love,
Sounds of a gate closing can be heard. Outside, the roads are in ruckus. Shopkeepers are bargaining with customers. Street urchins are running about the square, and the dogs continue barking at whatever passes by. And just like that, the story of two innocent lovers makes way into the book of those long forgotten, awaiting a world where love is not a sin.
in the rain and in shine, our love will be divine. In the waters, O love of mine, ever ours, ever thine. And when the first snow reaches the ground, and we hear the distant sound, love will find its way round. For what is lost must be found. And in the pitter-patter of the rain, the earth will remember our pain. Amidst those familiar lanes, our salvation, our bane. For in the rain and in shine, our journey remains divine. In the skies, O love of mine, ever ours, ever thine.